Nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo is gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the one of you Uncle Tom for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it?
It amazes me that to convince black people that Donald Trump cares about them, he takes pictures with celebrities. It's amazing to me. If Donald Trump cared about black people, he wouldn't have denigrated the president with those claims of birth.
Let's talk about it, fam. The streets are buzzing, and this time the whispers ain't about a new track or business deal. They're saying Snoop Dogg, the Dogfather himself, might have ties that go way deeper than the music industry. Ties that some people say reach straight into federal territory. Yeah, you heard that right. The same Snoop who rolled with Death Row, battled the system, and built an empire on never folding is now being hit with allegations of being a federal informant. The source of all this noise, comedian and social commentator D.L. Hughley, who recently lit up the internet by raising the question that had folks stopping mid-scroll. And when a respected voice like Hughley says something, people start listening, even if what he's saying sounds like a plot twist no one saw coming. Now, before we dive into the smoke, let's rewind the tape a bit. Snoop Dogg's story ain't just about rap, it's about transformation. From the Long Beach streets to hip-hop royalty, from being on trial for murder to hanging out with Martha Stewart. That arc is legendary, but that same evolution is what makes people suspicious whenever controversy pops up of West Coast realness.
But part of that is starting off with Snoop Dogg and Nelly and Soulja Boy and others for their decisions to perform at events surrounding the inauguration.
Folks remember that Snoop beat a murder case in the 90s when the system was going hard after West Coast rappers. They remember how Death Row Records was knee-deep in real-life gang affiliations and legal drama. So when someone like Hughley suggests that maybe Snoop's survival and success weren't just luck or strategy, that maybe there was some cooperation behind the scenes, people start connecting dots, even if those dots are drawn in thin air.
Now, for me to you, Donald, I wish I had half of your money. But for that, you need a 20-year-old and a divorce lawyer. Now, I may not have half his paper, but I got twice the dick, and you can believe that. Donald say he wants to run for president and move on into the White House. Why not? It wouldn't be the first time you pushed a black family out of their home.
Hughley didn't exactly pull up with court documents or recorded confessions. What he brought to the table was more of an implied accusation wrapped in commentary about loyalty, street code, and the blurred lines between hustlers, rappers, and law enforcement. In one clip, he questions how certain artists manage to stay untouched when others around them keep falling. The way he framed it was sly, not an outright Snoop's a snitch, but more of a you ever wonder why he's always good kind of vibe. That was enough to light up social media like a blunt at a block party. Suddenly, timelines filled with debates, memes, and old videos of Snoop standing next to cops or talking about peace and unity. Some folks saw those clips as harmless. Others started yelling, "Evidence!" The problem, though, is that talk like this cuts deep in hip-hop. The snitch label is like social death in certain circles. It's the one word you don't want to be associated with, especially if your whole image is built on surviving the streets and staying solid. And Snoop, he's built an entire empire on authenticity. He went from death row soldier to global brand, football coach, entrepreneur, and icon. But the same people who grew up with gin and juice in their headphones still see him as that West Coast OG who never bent the knee. So when someone hints he might have bent for the feds, even a little, that rumor hits like a sucker punch.
Of course, Snoop has responded to the backlash he received for performing for a Trump event. One of the things he pointed out was that we always stick together. We're good at tearing each other apart, which is pretty constant. It's pretty consistent when somebody gets into trouble. It takes backlash from the community. It's always a communal thing. It isn't any action they took. It is the fact that we can't stay together, that we can't stick together, that it's us always attacking us. But that flies in the face of the reality of what's happening right now. It is not us who are tearing down affirmative action. It is not us who is tearing down DEI. It is not us who are tearing families apart. It is not us who have decided that affirmative action and rollbacks that have been that had precedent for 50, 60 years are gone. It is not us that is doing that. It is, I think most people are disappointed because they saw you a specific way, and you have a right to kind of interpret and do whatever artistically you want to. No one's begrudging you that. But why the attack on the community because they disagree with something you did?
And when did you first meet Snoop?
First time I met Snoop, he was doing a release party for Doggy Style on a boat. I quickly said, "What's up?" to Snoop. Got off that yacht because I knew it was gonna be lit before it left the dock. I'm like, man, I'm not getting in the water with Death Row.
Still, when you look past the YouTube titles and social media chatter, the receipts ain't there. There's no legal document floating around saying Snoop cooperated with law enforcement. No former agents confirming he was on payroll. No court testimony with his name underlined in yellow. What exists is talk, and talk can be a dangerous weapon in the digital age. People forget that allegation and proof are not the same thing. But online, once your name's tied to something scandalous, the truth barely matters anymore. The story takes on a life of its own, driven by clicks, algorithms, and outrage. And that's where it gets interesting. Because while Snoop's out here dropping NFTs, hosting TV shows, and performing on world stages, someone's trying to drag him back into street politics. The kind of world he's been saying he left behind decades ago. It's like no matter how high you rise, someone's always ready to pull you back down with old school rumors dressed up in new school technology. The fans, they're split down the middle. Half say it's nonsense, that Snoop's earned his peace and deserves respect. The other half say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And the internet loves smoke more than truth. But here's the twist most people miss. D.L. Hughley's angle wasn't purely about Snoop. It was about the bigger question of who gets protected in this industry and who gets punished. He was speaking to that deeper tension. The idea that certain celebrities seem immune to consequences while others get hit hard. Maybe it was social commentary, maybe it was shade, maybe it was both. But when you mention Snoop's name in the same sentence as Informant, you're playing with cultural TNT. And now that fuse is burning and everyone's watching to see if it fizzles out or blows up.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the dope, ready to make an intro.
Man, you playing to win tonight, man. You sharp as a mosquito. What's going down? That's that crypto, see? They let a real crip up in the crypto ball. Bang, bang.
And I knew that Pac did everything right by him by putting him on All Eyes on Me, speaking about him and being real with him. And if it's true what they say.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Face to face is going to be a lot of explaining to do. Only way you have a radio if you was at the fight with us and you had a security detail. Now, I'm not having a security detail. What are you doing with the radio?
Nah, chill. I'm not performing. I am in Washington, D.C. right now, but I'm not performing. It's a private vibe I'm doing with my brother Snoop Dogg.
But I am honored to be performing for the office, for the President of the United States. Regardless, ain't nan other president asked me to perform. Nan.
Once D.L. Hughley dropped that hint, the story hit the web like gasoline on a barbecue pit. Bloggers, gossip pages, and YouTube commentators all sprinted to be first with the breaking news. Every headline shouted the same thing in bold red letters: Snoop Dogg under fire, like the man was about to be dragged into court again. The algorithm loved it. TikTok edits showed old clips of Snoop walking free after his trial, freeze frames of him smiling next to cops at charity events, even that one photo of him shaking hands with politicians. Every post had the same caption. Was this the moment the dog flipped? People weren't checking sources, they were chasing vibes, and that's the dangerous part. Online, once the crowd smells blood, they'll turn a rumor into a verdict before the truth even wakes up. Meanwhile, Snoop, he didn't flinch. No panicked live streams, no emotional posts, no fiery denials. The Dogfather kept it moving, promoting his ventures, cracking jokes, living like the storm didn't exist. That silence drove people even crazier. In hip-hop, silence can mean two things. Either you're above the nonsense or you've got something to hide. The fans split into camps fast. One side said, look, Snoop's too rich and grown to address playground gossip. The other side said, if he ain't saying nothing, maybe Hughley hit a nerve. Either way, the man's chill response added another layer to the mystery.
The most important thing is there's got to be a solution. Because this has been going on in the industry for a whole years, for decades. And at the same time, you know, nobody wants this to be true, and it shouldn't have to be true. But if we don't fix it and do something about it, history will constantly
repeat itself. Now, Shug, you said something early on that I want to get clarification for the audience, Shug. You said early on, you can't just look at Diddy in isolation. You said this was done to him. He learned from others, and it was done to him, and then he did to others. To me, that sounds like what I hear when people are talking about situations, you know, hurt people, that someone was used, they wind up being a perpetrator. Is that what you're suggesting about Sean Combs, that he was used and he now uses?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Rail, you know the truth. Clyde Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business. It's been like that for a long time. And the casting couch is real, but it's for women and men. But far from all that, I think the most important thing is I feel like they should let Puffy tell his truth. I'm quite sure he's going to expose a lot of people. I'm sure he's going to move forward with it. But I don't think it should be a situation like the Epstein thing where they found him hanging from the ceiling or dead.
Hughley. What most folks forget is that Snoop has danced with controversy before, and every time he's moonwalked out untouched. Back in the death row days, his life was chaos. Police raids, lawsuits, beefs, and headlines screaming his name. The system tried to bury him, but he walked out a legend. To this day, people still study how he reinvented himself from a gang-tied rapper into a media darling who can sip wine with Martha Stewart on national TV. That's not luck, that's strategic evolution. So when this new wave of informant talk hit, old heads started saying, you can't play chess at that level without making deals. It wasn't so much an accusation as a theory that Snoop's longevity must have come with some unseen alliances, but theories don't equal facts, and this one's got more smoke than fire. Then came the podcast and pundits. Every show wanted a piece. Some framed it as a what-if discussion about the price of fame. Others went full tabloid, throwing out wild connections between Snoop's case, the feds, and even Suge Knight's downfall. One clip went viral of a so-called industry insider claiming Snoop had federal friends who made sure he stayed clean. No documents, no proof, just whispers wrapped in confidence. But here's the kicker. In this age of virality, confidence is evidence to most people. You say something loud enough, long enough, and someone will swear they saw the paperwork. Still, even as the rumor grew legs, real journalists kept quiet. None of the major outlets, not Billboard, not Variety, not the LA Times, touched it. Why? Because they know a shaky story when they see one. Without concrete evidence, calling someone an informant isn't just risky, it's libel territory. But YouTube commentary lives by different rules. People want drama, not documentation. So content creators ran with it, dissecting old interviews like crime scenes. Someone even slowed down a clip where Snoop talked about keeping peace with police and said that was a confession. That's how wild the analysis got. A man advocating for nonviolence turned into a secret agent overnight. The hip-hop community's response was split but telling. Old school rappers like Ice-T and Too Short stayed silent. Veterans know better than to feed nonsense. Some younger voices on Twitter called Hughley reckless for throwing dirt without proof. Others applauded him, saying it's about time someone questioned why certain rappers always skate free while others do time. The debate got philosophical. Is Snoop a symbol of growth or a product of compromise? It wasn't just about one man anymore. It became a mirror for hip-hop itself. Are we okay with our heroes evolving out of the streets, or do we still demand that realness even if it destroys them? Meanwhile, Snoop turned the narrative on its head in the slickest way possible, by living. He kept showing up at charity drives, sports events, studio sessions, doing what he does best, staying visible, staying cool. He didn't dignify the rumor, he outlasted it. When you've built a 30-year career surviving worse than hashtags, you know the power of patience. The man understands something most people don't. In the digital era, every lie burns out faster than the truth if you just let it breathe. While the internet argued about whether he was a snitch, he was out here stacking checks, mentoring youth, and owning half the game. But still, that question lingers in the background like a haunting bass line. What if? And that's what keeps the story alive. Not proof, not facts, just the seductive mystery of maybe. The same curiosity that drives conspiracies, the same impulse that made people question Tupac's death or Jay-Z's Illuminati rumors. It's not about finding truth, it's about feeding fascination. And that's what Hughley tapped into, whether he meant to or not. He threw a spark into a culture that loves fire. Here's the thing, every legend walks with a shadow. The bigger the spotlight, the darker the rumors that follow. And when you've been shining as long as Snoop Dogg, that shadow stretches far and wide. The man's been relevant across 4 decades, 3 generations, and every shift in the culture. From gangster rap to gospel albums, from courtroom heat to Super Bowl halftime glory, he's been through it all. But that kind of staying power always raises eyebrows. People start asking, how does he keep dodging the drama? Why does the chaos never catch him? Some call it business savvy, some call it blessings, others, the cynical ones, whisper about backdoor deals and informant papers that no one's ever actually seen. That's the thing about conspiracy. It doesn't need proof, just people willing to believe. But look deeper, and you see something else. Snoop mastered reinvention without losing himself. He understood early that survival in this game isn't about staying the same, it's about staying smart. He left death row when the walls started closing in. He dropped the gangster image when it became a liability. He became a father figure, a brand, a businessman. That's not betrayal, that's evolution. Most rappers talk about getting out of the hood. Snoop actually did it, and he brought millions of fans with him. He showed that you can smoke your weed, wear your chain, and still own your masters, your label, and your legacy. That kind of success messes with people's heads. Some can't believe it's possible without cutting a deal with somebody in a suit and badge, but maybe the deal wasn't with the feds. Maybe it was with time, wisdom, and discipline. The crazy part, the rumor says more about us than it does about him. It shows how conditioned we are to think that success from the streets must be dirty. That if a black man wins too big, too long, there's gotta be a trick to it. That mindset ain't new. It's been around since the first rapper bought his first Bentley. We glorify the struggle, but we get suspicious when someone escapes it. D.L. Hughley might have been trying to spark a conversation about fairness in the system, but what it really did was expose the culture's addiction to controversy. It's like we can't celebrate someone's longevity without wondering what they had to do to keep it. Meanwhile, the same people screaming snitch are streaming his classics, quoting his lyrics, and wearing his merch. The contradiction is real, but that's the internet for you. And through it all, Snoop Dogg remains unbothered. He's built a peace that most of his peers never found. He's living proof that authenticity isn't about how loud you defend yourself, it's about how consistent you move. He never had to yell, "I'm real." He just kept showing up. Same drawl, same charisma, same player smile. You can't fake that for 30 years. Whether you love him or doubt him, you can't deny he's one of one. Even the controversy works in his favor. Every rumor, every headline, every wild theory keeps his name alive. He's not just a rapper anymore, he's folklore. And folklore always comes with myths, villains, and mysteries. So yeah, D.L. Hughley threw a match in the dry grass and it sparked a whole online wildfire. But when the smoke cleared, Snoop was still standing, cool as ever, puffing on success like it's legal in all 50 states. The streets might debate him, the blogs might twist him, but the culture still crowns him. Because at the end of the day, legends don't argue with gossip. They outlast it. Snoop's been doing that since the days when payphones outnumbered smartphones. And if history's any guide, this won't be the last time someone tries to question his legacy. But the Dogfather, he'll probably just laugh, drop another track, and remind everyone why he's still untouchable. And that's the real takeaway here. In the age of rumors and receipts, truth don't trend, endurance does. Snoop Dogg ain't just surviving, he's evolving, and that's what makes him dangerous. The man turned from suspect to symbol, from controversy to culture. So whether you believe the whispers or not, you gotta respect the consistency. Because at the end of the day, rumors fade, but realness sticks. If you vibe with this breakdown, if you like getting that raw, no filter look at the culture behind the headlines, don't just dip out. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and join the fam right here on Viraluxx. We keep it real, we keep it sharp, and we bring you the stories that move the streets. Stay tuned, the next drop's about to be even hotter.